Okay, so we've put in all the HTML for the second page of the Career Exploration website. And you should have something like this. Here's the banner. I changed mine. I had 350 originally, but you have a banner that's 1000 by 300, and then you have the nav, and we've added every, page. We added an image. Again, I created this image size in Photoshop, brought in any image, and was able to kind of figure out what 250 by 250 area I wanted to use of that image. So that's what I did. And then I have different areas called main and right side. And then I have a bottom area underneath an HR tag, horizontal rule line, of 3 parts. And inside 3 parts, I have 3 little divs, each called parts, class name called parts. That's holding a subheading and then an unordered list. So it should look something like that. And then a footer at the bottom. So there's no CSS yet, but it should look something like that. Okay, so now we're going to go in and build the CSS to design the page. So I wanted to make sure, first of all, that my banner area, I originally had it 1000 by 350. I changed it to 300, and now it's nice and snug in that area, the exact size. You should have all the nav all done here. I'm going to go below. I'm still inside the style tags here, but below all the nav stuff. And I'm going to start designing the page here. So bear with me here. So the first thing we did is we have a div called main down there. And again, with an ID name, it's a number sign, main. And I'm going to open up some curly brackets and close them. And we're going to talk to main. Main, we have 1,000 pixels. The container is 1,000 pixels wide, so we have 1,000 pixels to work with. And that includes padding and margin and everything. So we're going to give the main a width area of 650 px of the 1,000. Padding is going to be 20, so that means that the total main is going to be 650 plus 20 on the left and then plus 20 on the right. Okay? So that's 40. So right now the total width of main is 690. Okay? 20 added pixels on the left, 20 added pixels on the right to 650. So we have to keep that in mind. And then we're going to float that div left. Okay, that's what I'm doing with main. Now, inside main, we're going to talk to the P tag. So here's main. I'm saying basically, hey computer, there's a div down there called main. Inside of it, there's a P tag. And here's what we want to do just with that one. So it's very specific. We're going to give it a font size of 1.4 EM. We're going to give it a color of, you can decide here, A89 7A1, very light color. And then we're going to give it a padding, so there's some empty space around it, of 5px. Okay. Now, inside main, we're also going to talk to, let me move this up a little bit. We're going to say number sign main. We're going to talk to the H1 tag that's down inside main. And I'm going to do, again, a number of things to it. We're going to give it a color of number sign C9C. And then we're going to give it a font size, font dash size of 2.5 EM, basically 2.5 times the normal size of an H1 font, whatever that is. Okay, and now again, I'm still inside main, number sign main, H3. Again, we can be very specific and design just for the H3 tag inside main. I'm going to give it a color. Let's give the same one here. C9C. And then a font size of 1.6 EM. And I'm also inside of main. I'm going to talk to the image that we gave it a class name of Polaroid right here. Okay? So we're going to do some crazy stuff with Polaroid we've never done before. So again, the image that I have of the guitar for me is, I gave it a class name of Polaroid. And we're going to talk to that and do some stuff to it. And we're going to make it look like a Polaroid picture. So we're going to float it left. Okay, and then we're going to create a margin of 20 px. That's 20 pixels around it, outside of it. So create some empty space around it. And then we're going to give it a border of 10 px, and then solid. It's going to be a solid border, and the color is going to be kind of an off warm white. So F2 E7 D5. I found this at Color Lovers. And then here's the crazy stuff. We're going to create a box shadow coming up. We're going to do a border on the bottom. Of 45 pixel, solid, and again the same color, so I can actually grab this and paste it right there. Okay, now here's the stuff we've never done before, I don't think. We're going to create a box shadow, which is a new CSS3 thing, and give it a drop shadow basically. So we're going to talk to a couple different browsers when we do this. We're going to say WebKit box shadow, and it's going to be 3 pixels off from the bottom, 3 pixels, sorry, space, 3 pixels from the right, and then a 3 pixel spread, which is going to soften it a little bit. And the color of it is going to be 777. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, that's for Safari. WebKit, anytime you see WebKit, there are scripts inside the browser that can do some really cool things with CSS3. And that's calling to them in Safari. I'm going to copy this line of code. I'm going to paste it below it, again, inside the curly bracket, and paste it. And instead of saying WebKit, I'm going to say Moz, and that's for Mozilla Firefox. Okay? And then I'm going to do it one more time so that we've done it for Safari and Firefox, so it can look the same pretty much. And then I'm going to do it for Chrome, and I'm not going to use anything, just like that, box shadow. Okay? It's all the same, it's just calling to, this is working in Safari, this is working in Firefox, this is working in Chrome, I believe. Okay? And I'll save it. And now, we're done with that. Now we're going to talk to the HR tag. It's that HR below. Actually, let me do, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Let me talk to the right side. So number side, right underscore side, curly bracket. And the things we're going to do with the right side, we're going to make it 270 pxy, oh sorry, width 270 px. Okay, we're gonna float left, and then we're gonna give it a padding of 15 px on all the sides. Now again, that padding on the left side 15 pixels, and on the right side, 15 pixels will be added to the 270. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. Now inside right side we have a couple other tags we want to incorporate and design just in right side. So I'm going to say right side, and then the H3 tag that we have inside there. And the laundry list, we're only going to do one thing with it, I think. Color, and then number sign C9C. Okay. And then we're also going to do, let me scroll down here a little bit. We're going to say number sign right side P. So we have a number of small little paragraphs on the right side. And what we're going to do there is we're going to say font dash size 1.4 EM, and then color number sign 6C 947B. Okay, and again, I got that off of Color Lovers, I believe. All right. So now, that's the right side. And now, go ahead and save it. Now, below that, we have an HR tag. So we're going to talk to the HR. That's not in any div or anything. And we're going to make it and give it a width of 80%. Okay, now that's 80% of the container, which is 1,000 pixels. Okay, so not of the whole page, just the container, because the HR is inside the container. All right, now here's the thing we're going to do. We're going to talk to the main div called 3 parts down here. Here's 3 parts. And we have 3 divs holding unordered lists and a heading, and each of them have the same class name, parts. Okay, so when we talk to one parts, we're going to talk to all 3. All right, so here I am. I'm back up in the style tag, and we're going to say number sign 3 parts, and I'm going to give it a width of 100%. Now again, that's 100% inside the container. Okay, so it's going to be stored inside the container. Actually, I thought I did percentage, so I actually did pixel. I could do percentage. Okay, so that's all we're doing with 3 parts. Now we're going to talk to, inside 3 parts, we're going to talk to the parts, and we gave it class names, so we're going to use a period. And what we're going to do with these is we're going to float them left. Okay, and what happens is, because there are 3 of them, the first one in the HTML goes first. It's floated left, which creates empty space on the right side. The next one is floated left, which goes up beside it. And the third one is floated left, which goes up beside that. Okay, and they fit nice and tight in that area. Okay, so we're going to do float left, and then we're going to say width 30%, and then padding, which is empty space, 1%. Okay, so it's basically 32% because, again, there's 1% on the left and 1% on the right, which is added to this right here. Okay, now we have a couple different things we're going to do. We have a H4 tag in parts we're going to design, just in parts. So we're going to say parts H4 curly bracket. And the things we're going to do to the H4 is we're going to say font dash size 1.4 EM. And then we're going to do color. We're going to do kind of a lighter gray, 444. Okay? And then we have the UL and the LI. So parts UL, and again, let me get this in the middle of the screen for you. Okay. And we're going to say list dash style none. That's going to get rid of the dots. By default, there are dots next to each list item. That gets rid of those. And then line height is the space between each list item. And we're going to say 2 EM. Okay? And now we're going to do some crazy stuff, and we're going to place a graphic next to the list items. So we're going to say parts LI and the first thing we're going to do is say background dash image URL, and we're going to place a small little image. I have one. It's a Maltese cross. And I actually grabbed something. I did kind of the same thing that I did with the image, where I made a new Photoshop document, and the canvas was 20 pixels by 20 pixels, I think, something like that. And I found an image, and I resized it to kind of fit that area, or decided which area of that I wanted, 20 pixels by 20 pixels. And so that is the basically size of the image. Now, you can, once it's a PNG, and once you go File, Save for Web, and save it as a GIF or a JPEG or whatever, if it's too big, you can double click it in Preview and go Tools, Adjust Size, and change it to a size that might fit better. But I think I started off with 20 pixel by 20 pixel area in Photoshop. So that's what I did. And then I'm going to change the location of where it's going to be placed by talking to the background position. And it's going to be 0 on the left and the right, and then 7px on the, 0 for the top and the bottom, and 7px on the left and the right. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure it doesn't repeat. So background dash repeat, notice it turns blue, no dash repeat. Okay? And then I'm going to add some padding just on the left-hand side. Padding dash left, 1 EM for each list item. And the color of the text is going to be kind of a softer color that I grabbed okay. The font size is going to be 1.5 EM. The font family, and you could actually do font face with this if you want, is going to be Arial. The font weight, you can do 100 to 900 or bold. And the higher you get, 100 is kind of a lighter. Let me do 500 here. I have 800, but I'm going to do 500. And then the margin of each list item is 0.5 EM on the top and the bottom, and then 0 on the left and the right. Okay? And we're doing a lot, but that's what we're doing with each LI. And again, these are pretty much new to you right here. Okay? And this is how you create a little graphic image for each list item right here. So I'm going to go below this. I'm going to talk to the footer. I'm just going to give it some width and some height, and then color it. Number sign footer. And I'm going to say width, the same width as the container. The height, 50px. Oh, man, my typing. And then I'm going to give it a background color. Okay, and then here's the main thing. I want to make sure that it's always at the bottom. So I'm going to say clear, both. And that makes it always stay at the bottom. So I'm going to save it. And then let me open this thing up and let's see how we did here. Okay, and it should look something like that. Fairly good looking page. Oh. But what I want to do is, as a designer, see all this empty space right here? I'm going to figure out some way to lessen the paragraphs here, the amount of paragraphs. And I want to try to bring up this area, the right side, up to about this area. I can add text here. You know, I want to kind of balance them out. So what I can do is, now again, you're going to use real content text, but you can kind of play with that. And I think it's right here. So let me take some away here. I don't know if this will be enough, but let's see. I'll go and okay. So it's pretty close. All I did was I took away a little bit of each paragraph here. And again, you're trying to kind of size it so it's balanced, so there's not a lot of empty space where one area has more text than the other. And then here are the little list item graphics. Kind of neat to do. We haven't done that before. I wanted to show you how to do it. And here's that polaroid effect on the image. Now one thing is that the bottom should be 45 pixels. It should be deeper than this. It's a frame, but we want, the polaroid effect is you want a larger frame on the bottom. So let me go into my coding and see what's not working here. I'm going to go up to where I'm talking to polaroid, right here, and border bottom. Oh, I have sold instead of solid. So that's why that wasn't working. And then let me refresh it. So there it is. Now it's has a bigger, thicker bottom than the sides and the top. Okay, so that is the effect. That's the page. Thanks.